Alright, I'll set one monster and one trap card, then move to end phase. Your turn. Wait. Oh, right. No one plays this format.
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. It's been about a month since the release of the first Speed Duel product, and I think it would have been a little more successful if Paper Yu-Gi-Oh! Hadn't gotten fun to play again out of nowhere a month into its lifespan. Nevertheless, the first Speed Duel pack is going to hit shelves soon, so let's take another look at the existing card pool and see if there's anything fun we missed out on. So here's our first list, and likely the most powerful deck we missed out on last time, Tribal Synergy. Right now the meta game, if you can call it that, is completely dominated by Dragon Color, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and this deck. In terms of skills that see consistent play, I certainly didn't think the one that advocated playing two archetypes with no interplay together would top the list, but it turns out that drawing cards is pretty good. This list aims to marry the middling Harpy Lady strategy to the extremely powerful Amazoness suite that featured in the previous video. With consistent ability to outdraw and out-advantage your opponent with both your skills and ridiculous swings on the back of Amazoness Village and Heirloom, you can easily overwhelm even the most explosive BEWD opens. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First, we're on 3 copies of Amazoness Sage. I have no idea why this card is legal in a format with almost zero effective spell and trap removal. This card plays extremely well with Heirloom, coupling its incredibly weak attack stat with much needed survivability. After that is 3 Swordswoman, who is reasonable enough as a beatstick, and bridges the gap between the early and late game by eating setup monsters early and cheesing out victories against BEWD builds late. Finally, we're on 1 copy of Chainmaster. This could be anything, maybe a Tiger would be better. You just need about 1 more Amazoness for ratio reasons. Next are our 3 Harpy Ladies, all 1 and all clothed, you perverts on Dueling Book. Next are our spells. 3 copies of Heirloom, the backbone of the deck, 2 copies of Amazoness Village, which makes your Amazons float and provides a static buff, and a trap suite of 2 Kunai and 3 Windstorm, so selected because of their playability versus BEWD. Of course, our skill is Tribal Synergy. With that, let's check out a game. Our match is up against, what else, Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's important to be particularly well versed in this matchup specifically because it's likely to be all you're playing until the new set releases. We're going first, which is excellent news. What's less excellent news is our opening hand. It has a copy of Amazoness Heirloom, Swordswoman, Village, and Sage, but no Harpy Ladies. That means we're not going to be able to access our skill, Tribal Synergy, until at least next turn. We're going to activate Amazoness Village, set this copy of Amazoness Sage and this Heirloom, and pass it back to our opponent. Thankfully, our opponent's open is not particularly good either. They'll normal summon a copy of Blue Dragon Summoner and attack into our set monster. It's Amazoness Sage, so we'll get from our deck a copy of Amazoness Swordswoman. Because they don't have any back row, we'll be able to do big damage next turn, which is particularly important when you're on Swordswomen, since they can establish lethal from almost nothing. We'll go ahead and normal summon our second Swordswoman, and the bluff is over. All chips on the table will activate Amazoness Heirloom and go to battle phase. Because of the static buff from Amazoness Village, we'll get in for 200 points of damage on this attack, and 1700 directly immediately afterwards. Our opponent is going to activate the effect of Blue Dragon Summoner, getting a Blue Eyes White Dragon to hand, and I'm thinking that we'll see one of those in the very immediate future. We'll pass back to our opponent. They'll set 1 card and pass back. Wow, that must be one heck of a brick. We draw a Harpy Lady for turn, meaning we'll be able to activate Tribal Synergy. We'll reveal it and the Sage in the hand in order to trigger Mai's skill and draw ourselves a card. Afterwards, we can normal summon the Harpy Lady and trigger it again for 2 more. Wow, that's fantastic. We'll go ahead and set 1 card, activate a second copy of Amazoness Heirloom, and get attacking. Our opponent will concede in response. Here's our second list, an early contender for best deck that almost immediately fell into a state of disrepair, Toons. Heralded as an exciting, consistent OTK deck for a format with half the usual life point total, and coupled with residual fear from very early Duel Links players, there was a lot of hype building around these cartoons. Unfortunately, that wind was almost immediately knocked out of their sails by the rise of Blue Eyes White Dragon and the unfortunate playability of battle traps like Kunai with Chain and Windstorm of Aquata, both of which shut down any potential of Toon rollback OTKs. Couple that with the hilarious fact that there's literally 1 piece of spell and trap destruction, and you can see why many duelists weren't too hesitant to change the channel. That said, we're going to do the best we can to get this hulking monstrosity of speed dueling's first degenerate deck off of the ground. We're on 3 copies of Tooned Summoned Skull, which can only be special summoned by tributing a Toon monster, which hopefully explains our next inclusion, Toon Masked Sorcerer. It's not great, I know, but seriously, the only Toon monster we're not playing is Toon Alligator. After that is 3 Toon Mermaid, who's fine, followed by a card I cannot believe is in the world of speed dueling, 3 Toon Table of Contents, followed by its flex target, 1 Toon Rollback. Hopefully we can use this card to win the game before our opponent realizes we're playing something completely terrible. Finally, we've got an extra Toon World alongside our skill. It's a Toon World, and... I mean... 3 Dice Foon. You know what they say, 60% of the time, it's MST 100% of the time. Finally, we've got 3 Kunai with Chain to keep our Summon Skull alive while it's got Summoning Sickness. So with that, let's check out a game. Our match is up against the 3rd best deck in the format and my personal favorite, Gravekeepers. Thankfully, we are going first, so we'll be able to set up unencumbered. We're going to draw our opening hand, and it's actually quite good. I mean, as good as an opening hand in Toons can be. We'll activate our skill. It's a Toon World, though our opponents won't flip in the replay. They're playing Millennium Necklace. We'll start by special summoning a copy of Toon Mermaid. We'll then special summon this copy of Toon Summoned Skull from our hand, set a Dice Foon, and pass it back to our opponent. Our opponent, erroneously thinking they have slightly more time than they do, will normal summon a copy of Gravekeeper's Priestess, equip it with Wonder Wand, and draw themselves a couple of cards. They'll set 2 cards before passing back to us, and we're 1-5 away from winning the game. It's a 4. Well, that destroys 1 spell or trap, which is still better than nothing. We'll go ahead and hit one of these Rite of Spirits before they can chain it, and our opponent will activate the effect of Millennium Necklace. They're going to add Dice Foon to the top of our deck, I guess expecting that we haven't made a secret pact with RN Jesus, but unfortunately for them, we have. We're going to go ahead and draw Dice Foon. We'll then set a copy of Toon Table of Contents. In the unlikely event we have to destroy 2 cards with this Dice Foon, I don't want to lose Toon World. We're going to flip this sucker, and what do you know? We get the MST mode again. That allows us to destroy the Rite of Spirit our opponent has. We're then able to flip up this copy of Toon Table of Contents to fetch a Toon Rollback from our deck, and oh my god, we have the OTK. We'll activate Toon Rollback, get attacking, and our opponent will concede. That's so stupid. Finally, our final list exists to satiate the never-ending lust of Yu-Gi-Oh's most consistently maligned players, Dark Magician pilots. Now don't worry, this deck is just as good in speed duels as it is in paper, which is to say, it is not good at all. While the consistency tools that make DM playable are in the format, the payoffs are excruciatingly low. We've got Dark Magic Attack, but not a lot else. What's more, the other tools afforded to this strategy, a DMG package enabled by Sage's Stone and Dark Magical Circle, are completely out of the question for us, as both Blue Eyes White Dragon and Gravekeepers can take much better advantage of a Magician's Circle than we can. Having said that, in a perfect world where we're able to gum up the board while adding Dark Magicians to hand, then Tribute Doll into Dark Magic Attack, we still might be able to pick up a game. Brace yourself for this card by card. First is 3 Blue Dragon Summoner to find DM, 3 Legion the Fiend Jester to permit another Tribute Summon and recycle DMs, and 3 of the big boy himself. If you're playing on Dueling Book, you're allowed to use any art, so I recommend you use the good one. After that is 3 Tribute Doll, which is just pathetic, but I'm not playing cost down, in order to special summon a Dark Magician with 1 Tribute, though it can't attack the turn it hits the field. We're also on 3 Wonder Wand for those sick pluses off of our Recruiters, and 2 Dark Magic Attack. Our list rounds out with 3 Windstorm of Ataqua, and to out-defense position Blue Eyes White Dragons or attack position Blue Eyes White Dragons with Wonder Wand attached, we're on Power of Dark. So with that, let's check out the game. Our match is up against Blue Eyes White Dragon, but our opponent is playing a considerably sized Tyrant Dragon package. Players usually play between 1 and 2 Tyrant Dragons as an additional Flute of Summoning Dragon package. Our opponent has found them all. We get to go first at the very least, and our opener is... I don't even know what constitutes a good opener in this deck, so it's okay. We're going to go ahead and normal summon a copy of Legion the Fiend Jester, equip it with a Wonder Wand, set a copy of Windstorm of Ataqua, and pass it back to our opponent. For turn, our opponent will set 2 cards and pass it back. I'm suspicious and don't want to push for big damage just yet. We'll go ahead and activate the effect of Wonder Wand, and then activate the effect of Legion the Fiend Jester in Graveyard, drawing 2 cards and adding a copy of Dark Magician to our hand. We draw into the payoff a Dark Magic Attack. We can then normal summon a copy of Blue Dragon Summoner and get in while the gettin's good. We'll do 1700 points of damage to our opponent's life points because of the effect of Power of Dark, boosting all spellcasters. That's a pretty huge chunk. Our opponent's going to draw for turn, then activate Jar of Greed. The next thing they'll do is set one additional card and pass it back to us. We draw for turn. We'll go ahead and, well, try to win the game while we still can. Normal summoning a Blue Dragon Summoner, and getting in, our opponent activates a Kunai with Chain. Now, that set card that we don't know about could be a battle trap that they're being particularly greedy with, but I'll take any opportunity to take my opponent down to 600. They'll draw for turn, and what did they find but Lord of D? Dang it! That means they're going to be able to use Dragon Caller to add a copy of Flute of Summoning Dragon to hand. They'll activate Flute of Summoning Dragon, and what hits the board but 2 Tyrant Dragons? Oh god. They'll go to battle phase, we'll activate Windstorm, and we have exactly 1 turn to clean this up. They'll pass it back to us, and for turn we draw Legion. We'll normal summon Legion, use our extra tribute summon for Dark Magician, use the grave effect of Blue Dragon Summoner to get the 3rd DM to our hand, then fire off Dark Magic Attack! Unfortunately, that set card is Windstorm. That means we're not going to be able to eat any of these Tyrant Dragons, and our board is not long for this world. We're going to pass it back to our opponent. One fantastic thing about multiple Tyrant Dragons is they play particularly well against exactly Windstorm of Aquata. They're going to attack into our copy of DM and leave our Legion on the field. We'll draw for turn. It's a Dark Magic attack that doesn't really do anything relevant. We'll attack into this copy of Lord of D at least, so theoretically we could target Tyrant Dragon with something that targets them but isn't a trap. Our opponent draws for turn and gets attacking. They'll get in for a lot of damage. I'll hold this copy of Windstorm as long as I can, activating it only now. We're able to change both of their monsters to defense position while adding our 3rd and final Dark Magician from our graveyard to our hand, because of course Legion can add from anywhere. For turn we draw Tribute Doll. Without anything to tribute, I think we're dead. So that's that. I look forward to seeing what the new pack includes, but for the time being, these 6 are probably all the playable archetypes in the starter decks for this fledgling format. If you want to see me play the decks I make on this show on stream, I'm on twitch.tv/mbtygo every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have an idea for a deck or archetype you want to see on a future episode of this show, let me know in the comments section below and I'll do my best. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.